I went to my table. I like to call it my magician's table, a place where I lay out my divination cards, for me. Specifically, I wanted to know if it was time to create videos that were emerging behind the scenes in my mind. Glimmers gathered here and there, in my mundane, linking information together, making notes on my phone app. I shared some of these magically mundane moments with my closest interpersonal connections. Was I to reveal myself in a more exposed way? Was I too raw from the last time I did? I used my coordinates. Magician's table meets divination cards meets this moment in time to convene my council of the unseen to explore portals available for me now. These are my office hours I hold to confer with information conveyed through code. It may seem strange to a first stanza perspective that I have a magician's table, and I convene councils with the unseen. I smile with these naysayers, or skeptics, or pessimists, because I've been one. Recently, I had a classmate reveal to me during World War II, newspaper crossword puzzles were used to pass secret military messages about D-Day. But that's his story to tell in his book, yet verifiable when searching May 3rd, 1994, Utah crossword puzzle. My codes were years in the making, allowing me to arrive at my magician's table, confirmed by one of my verification methods before I understood what the heck she meant.
I feel like I am watching a wizard. Every little movement that you do, it's very specific, actually.
I needed my counsel to reveal the portals I had open to me at this moment in time. Portals convey the greatest possibilities of a certain time. Zooming deeper into portals, I can flesh out a map, what I like to call planning. I take notes on my phone, gather bits of glimmers, and see how they fit together. Once the map is chosen, I can take action with an intention of creating territories, or in this case, a video. It's fleshing out the code conveyed through the council at my magician table to discover the action emerging from the interpretations of the creation, the bones needing flesh and blood to materialize. I stared at my cards until I was interrupted by Ava. She needed to talk about her options on her return home. Don't we all? She was looking for portals, what we like to call flight plans. Her planned European spring break hit a snag. The second leg of her journey, visiting her dad's family, had a disruption. We were all hanging in the balance, unsure of whether to proceed with the original plan. Magic had called me earlier because Ava had requested he loop me into the conversation. I tend to be a useful translator in these confusing situations, especially since it was his family and his daughter attempting to connect on the second leg. After working out some options with her dad, I was now conveying these portals to Ava. I grabbed a piece of paper to lay out the flights and timelines. I needed to see it visually, like divination cards, to help put the pieces together. After our conversation, her final step was a call with her dad to formalize the action plan to materialize any changes, of which Magic was fully prepared to do since I'd successfully done my translation job, priming the pump on all sides. I returned to my divination cards and noted repeats about timing. Wait, it's not time yet. Time to let go. Trust the timing. Timing is not running out. And of particular note, the Tower and 10 of Swords. One doesn't even need to know how to interpret these codes. The pictures alone convey a clear message. I couldn't figure it out. Maybe it was the interruption. I was looking for a simple yes or no to create the videos that were queuing up in my notes. Suddenly an idea struck. A reading I had started as I was headed to bed the previous night from one of my coded information channels. I was dozing off while watching. I had completely forgotten I hadn't finished. At the end of her readings, she does a pendulum to offer a simple yes or no to a question on my mind. I pulled up the video and dropped right in where I left off.
I have the card Hinoki with organization and coordination. Interesting with this energy that things need to be sorted as well with that keywords organization and coordination. Every experience, good or bad, is a priceless collector's item. Hinoki essence brings with it the structure and the mental organization that Japanese culture inspires. The leaves of the hinoki resemble the divine structure of the universe.
I halted. This was not what I expected. A leaf? I would love to point to the story in Love's playlist where I talk about the significance of a leaf, but I can't because it was cut. Cut because it was the story of my dad's passing. Cut because as many times as I tried to shape the story in a way the reader could comprehend the significance of a leaf, I found it lacking and flat. Cut because my dad's life was cut too short. Cut because I could not find the words to bring the reader into the utter disorientation that moment in my life brought me. A piece I called Tether Me. A leaf. It wasn't fall. How can a leaf fall not in the fall? It was filled with life. That's just not right. Why would the tree release a leaf? It's so green. I returned to the original reading, seeking the pendulum's simple yes or no.
There's two more self-care cards, and actually your personal power I found interesting with that hinoki wood, because it's like things need to happen at a right timing, and then you have your personal power right now is I trust in divine timing. So you really can lean into the unfolding of things and trust that. That's your superpower right now. It will get you through anything. Two more self-care prompts for you at this time is tea, nice nourishing cups of tea, maybe it's herbal teas, but also singing, expressing things with your voice. Maybe it's also for some that don't really like to sing. It could be about talking and expressing yourself, but I think singing is really wonderful, even if you feel like you can't sing, just that natural expression, maybe in the car, or maybe you love to sing and karaoke's in order, something like that might be really wonderful as well. So group one, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully this reading gave you some sort of comfort, clarity or guidance, and I look forward to reading for you all again soon. Bye.
Timing again? No pendulum? No simple yes or no? Clearly I wasn't getting off that easy. But the trail hadn't ended. A clue was there once I looked at the video just below the one that left me hanging. One I had seen 5 months ago. I had chosen pile 1 because the marker on the video showed where I exited. What made it obvious? It was a message from time. Your message from divine time. Time was all over me. Beyond the divination cards, it's not yet time, time to let go, trust the timing. I was interrupted by Ava as we explored her travel times. I clicked the video.
Hey Soul family, welcome back to the channel. This is the White Feather Tarot, and in today's reading we're taking a look at your message from your divine timing. And in today's reading we're going to allow time to pick your pile. So the way it's divided is through minutes 0 to 20, minutes 21 to 40, and minutes 41 to 60.
I paused to look at my phone time, 10:08, pile 1. Again. I then opened it up to see the original day I watched it, October 22nd. I felt a gut punch. Oh no. I opened my calendar to verify what my gut was indicating. It was the day after my D-Day, October 21st, 2024, when I received a text from my friend. There was an incident early this morning in the lake area. You'd probably want to stay clear. I responded, Lake Alice? She confirmed, yes, the neighborhood. I published Love's playlist in June, 4 months prior to this incident. In a story called Welcome to Wonderland, I introduced the lake within my Snow White sanctuary. It was a place I went to paddleboard for years. Although I only named the lake once in this story, there were 15 references on paddleboard in 9 of the 63 stories. Lake Alice was interwoven into my sanctuary, and the tragedy that unfolded that day devastated me. It was a direct hit in the ecosystem I'd curated to hold my transformation conveyed in Love's playlist. With a family I had the joy of sharing this space with. I grappled with the unfolding narrative for weeks, following headlines, Reddits, whatever media outlets I could get my eyes on. I started gathering bits of information. When my writing class started the following spring, I was geared up to write the next book about this incident. Homemade. After completing 2 writing pieces, I became so frustrated with what was emerging, I abandoned the project, no longer willing to fight with my words. This message from time was appearing to be rather intense. I needed to get into my bath to listen to this reading I watched the day after D-Day. I did not remember it at all. Not surprising, given the shock I was feeling. This was not my usual bath time. Bath times are at the end of the day. This was mid-morning, but the pull was too great, and I drew the bath. I stepped into the tub with time on my mind, video projects swirling in the balance, and confused about the accumulating information. What was time wanting to reveal to me? I clicked the video to begin again, because we can begin again.
Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. If you clicked on this pile, it means that the hour on your clock is something, and the minutes are between 0 to 20 minutes. If this is not the case, please check the right pile because time is picking your reading today. Unless you want to go by your intuition, which you're very welcome to do any day of the week. So the way we're going to be doing this reading is we'll be dividing it into 4 parts. We're going to be taking a look at what's your message from divine timing. What's the divine timing? And we'll take a look at what's your guidance. And finally, what are the signs that you're going to be seeing when this divine timing starts happening? What signs are you going to be sent? So that's the plan. This is actually a chart of astrological houses. And I'm going to be randomly circling it around. We don't know where it's going to be. We'll be revealing it during the reading because depending on the houses in conjunction to the cards, we'll be getting specific messages on what you're meant to hear. So I guess that's enough.
She was locating me through astrology, another of the coding methods I use.
Let's take a look at the houses since we're starting. Right, so 7th house here, 1st house here, 4th house, and 10th house. Wonderful.
She was putting the scope onto the map and began with the 7th house, the house of relationships. A very poignant location for me, since that is the point of Love's playlist. It's all about relationships. Relationships with my kids, with my lovers, strangers, and so on. 6 variations of relationships fleshing out love, alongside the between and the unseen, as well as my family, like my brother, Kip, who's been on my journey since the day I was born, who had just sent me an audio in WhatsApp on his reflection on my journey.
Wow, Kimmy, thanks for sharing that with me. When I woke up this morning, I was just reflecting on some of the experiences you've shared with me the last few days about the dynamics that unfold with you in the supermarket or at the reception at the Y, and just how you embody Shiro, because you can just take these mundane circumstances and make them into magic, and with this dynamics and exchanging between people and make that light and fun. So it is so cool, and it's so like you are such an embodiment of Shiro. It's like you just show it by being who you are, which is really cool. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing this.
I've turned myself inside out, traversing this reality. And some people have stayed with me through my traversing, witnessing my expansion through the stanzas. There have been many trappings in status, financial accumulation, and partnerships, trappings that if I didn't choose to release myself, it was chosen for me. And the latter often, but not always, an indicator of the first stanza mindset. Because I long for stability. I long for community. I long to belong. Yet none of this longing could withstand my inner navigation longing me to connect with me. To connect my lowercase I with my uppercase I, articulated in the piece I needed to write after I abandoned homemade. I am the dregs settled in bottled up frustration. I am the heavy sentiments filtered by gravity. I am the worst and lowest part of the content. I am capped off. I am compressed. I am contained. I will not conceal myself in omniscience. I have earned the privilege of Panasophical. I could step onto the all-knowing pedestal. I am the observer of my life. I will speak when spoken to. I will respond when called. I can only be me. I can only represent me. I am the mighty I. I am the minuscule I. I. My inner navigation has been known to pull the rug from under me, has suddenly yanked me with a bungee cord around my ankles, careening me in the opposite direction, has pinged me like the ball in the pinball machine. But what I know about these methods that shift my direction is I'm not just messing with myself for the fun of it. Nor is it done with cruelty, nor did it mean I was headed in the wrong direction. This part of me always has my back. I step into experiences with optimism, holding the potential for the best for all involved. But it's the all of this equation that is out of my hands due to free will. As an auditor at Arthur Andersen in the 90s, I could not help but question our auditing methods. I was counseled more than once to stop questioning my seniors, put my head down, and follow the plan. But my reputation was set, and I became an inconvenience to the team and was sent to the copy room, my punishment for breaking the rules of my role. I was long gone when the mighty towers of one of the largest accounting firms came tumbling down. Ironically, for the same methods that kept me in line, keeping my head down, stop questioning, and follow orders, to their demise. My credibility goes beyond my credentials. My degrees are deeply valued because they demonstrate the frame, the bones that needed to be fleshed out through my immersive experience. I continue listening to the reading.
Okay, so what is your message? That's the 7th house. What's your message? Divine time, with divine timing. So you've got surprise. Okay, really nice. What is that? I think it says 6,000. Does it not? Or maybe go. We'll see.
And laid my head back, looking out my skylight. I halted, pausing the video to capture what was above my head.
So I'm in the bath thinking about the messages I'm getting this morning about timing, and I'm like, God, it's just so repeated. And I look up and there's an X right above me, like X marks the spot, like I'm so on it.
X marks the spot. I was clearly on target. I returned back to the video to zoom into the image where she said, go.
So, surprise, you've got melancholy. You've got the creator. The 9 of Cups. Right? The 9 of Cups. The 7 of Pentacles. And you've got the Wheel of Fortune. Wow, and speaking of divine timing. Okay.
The surprise was the go was caged. And this fishing out of the caged go brought melancholy that eventually led to the Wheel of Fortune. So this is what time wants me to know. I am here, treading lightly, because I have just fished out the caged go. The cage of closed minds, backs turned, doors slammed in my face with so much left unsaid. I'm tenderly exposing the inside out. Reminded of the words my teacher shared with our class as we all viewed one another's work. co-creators that we are, mutually agreeing to his wise counsel.
Basically, just pointing out what you noticed that's working well. There's no sort of like critique or suggestions of like, oh, I thought maybe you could do this, or it might work better if you did this, or I didn't understand that. But given that, all of the pieces will be, at most 7 weeks old or 8, if I can, I don't know. But it's new that, I don't want us to sort of put any kind of sort of negativity on a piece that, is just really making its debut into the world. The authors are just starting to think about it perhaps and haven't had time to return to it. So just to sort of, encourage us to keep going.
And here I begin the Inside Out playlist. But I have a plan. As I hear laughter in my mind, oh, Kim and her plans. To which I respond, unless I'm interrupted. But I'll show that too. Because interruptions are a part of the layers, those necessary spaces between, in my writing, in my videos, all the pauses, the blanks, the whiteouts, or my daughter calling. All the places I've crossed, still crossing, to show my work, inside out. I recognize my methods are subtle, so subtle, I was once accused of being obtuse. I think of the obtuse as the oblique, or the long straw in the straws game. Coming at a connection or experience from the side reduces defenses. I think of the direct method as the short straw. It is available to me, and sometimes I do draw it, and therefore have the means to be direct. Most of my content is indirect and oblique. However, in recognition of the reality that tends to be direct, combined with a desire to be accessible while not overextending, I will make some clear requests of this budding community, so tiny and tender. Many I know here personally. Let your confusion be an invitation to breathing life into innocent curiosity. I have many videos on this channel, as well as a website and book linked in the channel description. If you find yourself questioning, who do I think I am, or what am I doing, allow this to guide you to discover your answer and your sovereignty. Allow my writing instructor to reach you and let his expertise be passed freely. The tenderness of this channel is nourished like a young shoot just poking out of the soil. Water the sprout with encouragement or likes. I have so much I'd like to share with those who find this space a place of wonder, who like to wander away from conflict and competition and into symbiosis and intimacy. I return to my table and noted, I am held. There is sureness of the soil with the unseen's help and support and community. My life is the canvas, flanked by the stabs of 10 swords embracing the disintegrating tower. The foundation placed upon the head of a cobra who holds healing powers contained within the pillars of lovers and the spirit of swords. The enlightenment of wands, the fire that animates life, stands side by side with the higher self. Does it make me a bit nervous as I face the great cosmic void? I suppose so. But it has been clearly conveyed. Only time will tell.
So be gentle with me, darling, tread lightly. Oh, I will tread lightly.